finding the right one, okay? How can I cope with the empty nest syndrome? Okay, if you're experiencing feelings lost due to empty nest syndrome, take action. For example, accept the timings of things. Timing of things. Avoid comparing your children's timetable to your own experience and expectations. Instead, focus on what you can do to help your child succeed when he or she does leave home. Okay? Keep in touch. You can continue to be close to your children even when you live apart. Make an effort to maintain regular contact through visits, phone calls, email, text, and video. And parents, especially if you're a young empty nester thing like myself, don't want to be friends and hang out with your kids. I mean, I personally think that is just the lamest thing. It's like, because even though your kid may or may not think it's cool, they may say it's cool just not to hurt your feelings, but then they're with their friends saying things like, gosh, why my mom has to be here? Find your own thing, find your own thing. Seek support. If you're having a difficult time dealing with an empty nest, lean on loved ones and other close contacts for support. Share your feelings. If you feel depressed, consult a doctor or a mental health provider. But you need to get help. I mean, some people need that. Some people are strong enough to get to that point and will find something else to do with themselves, okay? But then some people don't. We're all made differently. Some people need that extra boost. May need to talk to a psychiatrist. May need to talk to a friend. But make sure your friend wants to hear you whining and griping all the time about your kids being gone and you're being so lonely. Make sure of that, because, friends can sometimes be your worst enemies, just worse than family. Well, family could be worse. But friends, you got friends that don't really care. They start hearing it. So really think about who you're complaining to. Stay positive, thinking about the extra time and energy you have to devote to your marriage or your personal interests. After your last child leaves home, you might have to adopt these major life changes. I mean, if you're married or in a relationship, go places, travel, go do weekend things. Go to the wine festival on a weekend. I mean, when the last time you've been able to do that? Can you prevent the empty nest syndrome? If your last child's about to leave home and you're worried about empty nest syndrome, plan ahead. Look for new opportunities in your personal and professional life. Keeping busy or taking on new challenges at work at home can help ease the sense of loss that you might experience. Take that room and turn it into a playroom. Turn it into an exercise room. Turn it into a den. Turn it into something that you really, really wanted. Reach deep down inside yourself and find that talented skill that you just have and let it explode. Do you hear me? Let it explode. Don't hold back. Don't hold back anything. And I'm serious. Don't. Just do it. You and your husband, go for it. Who cares about how ridiculous it looks? Go for it. You only got this one life to live, guys. Because believe me, your kids are living their life. They are having fun on the weekends. They're having fun with their friends. If siblings hang out with their other siblings, they're having fun with each other. So don't look like the sad sack in the corner. And I don't want to say that, but I did it again. Open mouth, insert foot. Okay, so here is one situation where it's linked between emptiness and depression. Okay, it says middle age is a time of life that brings changes for many parents. One of those changes happens to be when young adults move out of the home. Some parents experience what is dubbed to be the emptiness syndrome, an informal term of sadness, grief, loneliness felt after your child leaves home. For some, these negative feelings can persist and make them vulnerable to developing depression. You don't want to go there. The negative feelings, however, can impact both men and women. If it's daddy's little girl or daddy's boy or something like that, whatever, if it's a daddy's boy and your son is popular in college and got all the girls, don't be the dirty old man in the room. Gosh, don't do that. the dirty old man gawking at his, his son's girlfriend. Because believe me, young girls know that. They do. They know that you're gawking. So don't embarrass your kid like that. More, don't embarrass yourself. For example, a study of fathers found that some men felt emotionally unprepared when a child left home, regretting the many lost opportunities to be involved in that child's life. Some women are particularly vulnerable, especially if their lives revolve around caring for children. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You can experience a loss of identity while children are growing up. Some parents define themselves in the term of their role. They come to see themselves as primary. Tyler's mom, Emma's dad. This may be especially true when a parent, usually the mother, but not always, was a primary caregiver who stayed at home. When your grown child leaves for an adult life, it's easy to find yourself with no one left to guide or care for. The loss of identity has negative effect in emotional as well-being. Hey, if you need to find someone to care for, go volunteer at a senior citizens home. There are lots of senior citizens homes that are looking for someone to care about them because a lot of them, their family just have abandoned them. My grandmother is in a nursing home, and I see some of the people that are there. You know, they're so happy. And my goodness, don't bring a baby around. That baby would get so much love. So if you really need to be around people and you need to have that nurturing thing, either go to school, take a nursing course, or go in volunteer in the hospital, volunteer in a nursing home, volunteer in a homeless shelter, volunteer around people that are needy and need that type of affection and looking for people to give that to. Guilt. If you spend 18 years or more guiding your child the best way you can, but now they've moved on into the real world, a place where you're less able to protect them. Kids want to do that. You have some kids that want to go out there. They want to experience it. They want to walk to the wall and get hit in the face with the tree. Let them. Because, see, you can always say, see, I told you. Or, they'll come back to you, and they'll come back to you with the utmost respect. When my middle daughter moved out, and she had got her own apartment, and, she kind of did all this kind of underhanded. She said, here, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. She had a job, she had a car. Okay, hey, the world is yours, darling. And after about a year or two out there, life slapped her so hard. I mean, forgive my expression, but life bitch slapped that girl. She came home, and when she came home, she was so humble. I didn't have to bother with telling her to wash a dish. We still had the problem with the cleaning of the room thing. But she came back so humble that it was amazing. Sometimes life can do a better job than you ever can do. So if they want to go out there and do it, let them. Let them. Sit back. Have a cup of coffee. A glass of wine, Mom and dad also sometimes feel a heavy sense of guilt when an adult child moves out and start making unhealthy or bad decisions. Please don't make that. Don't get into alcoholism. Don't start smoking stuff or snorting stuff. I mean, come on. Really? Really? Relationship changes. For many parents, raising the children is an all-consuming task where you've likely spent up to 2 decades focusing more on your children and less on your relationship with your spouse or your partner. When a child moves away from home and you and your partner are forced to become a couple again, perhaps for the first time in years, without the distraction of children, relationships become more problems in your relationships become much more difficult to ignore. Whoa, that's a big one. As the two of you now sit down for quiet dinners together, you may find that there's not much to say. This can create tension and stress and increase in depression. When you get to that point, let me tell you, when you don't know much to say, have much to say to each other, then you know you need to go find you a hobby. Women, you go find it because no longer is that husband worried about where you've been, what you're doing, unless you're just downright trustworthy little sneaky, stinky woman. and he has a reason to feel that way. But if you're not doing anything bad, go ahead. Get that. Go to that gym. That is your time. I'm telling you, that is your time. You sit down, you have dinner together. How's your day? Blah blah blah. I'm going this to here. Even if you're going to church, even if you're going to church, you can join the church and you have fellowship on nights. Most likely that man. We as women, we're used to working hard. Okay, so we can come home from work and do something else. Now, sometimes we don't want to do anything, but best believe that we don't want to do anything forever. And if you do, something's wrong with you. Get up and do something. But so we have that energy to do so, especially if it's something we like after work. Men come home from work, they just want to relax. They want their remote control, their beer, their dinner, or whatever. And it's like, they don't really care what you do as long as they know they can trust you. So definitely, it's not like it was when you were younger and, you were all over each other. I mean, come on. It's too hot sometimes. Okay, financial concern. Your child has moved out, but that doesn't necessarily mean he or she is suddenly self-sufficient and independent. College tuition costs are high. Many families find themselves struggling to build. As an empty nester, you may find yourself weighed down with concerns about how you may pay for your child's college needs, including tuition, textbooks, and living expenses. You need to take out college-related loans that add financial burden to your parents as well. If your child doesn't go to college, you may find yourself co-signing on an apartment or leasing more money than you anticipate. Living costs are high, the economy precariously, and things don't go always as you plan. Okay, this is Lena's philosophy on it. If they want to get an apartment, unless you know your kid is responsible, please don't be one of those blind parents. This kid can fool you. This kid make you think that, oh, daddy, I'm so innocent, and they're doing everything behind daddy and mommy's back, okay? Because if you co-sign for them, they're not going to keep the apartment. Give them some responsibility. Have them co-sign because, see, if they sign a lease and they get in there and they get them a couple of roommates who don't want to work, a couple of people that no longer wants to go to school, it's a party house. And nobody wants to pay the bills, and everybody's going to end up getting kicked out. But if it happens 6 months down the line, you don't have to worry about paying in the other 6 months of that apartment lease. Have them pay something. Have them pay something. It teaches them a sense of responsibility. Besides, because some kids will stay in school. I've seen the kids that stay in school, to get their masters, to get their PhD. Most of them are just avoiding going out into the real world and getting a real job. Because after they do all that, they don't get no spectacular job just praying money, money, money. They're getting the same job that the person that started at the bottom and stayed with that company for 15, 20 years is doing now. That's real talk. Okay, so the risk of untreated depression, if you have it, depression is a serious psychiatric disorder that interferes with daily life and causes people to feel helpless and hopeless. Depressed individuals often struggle with insomnia, feeling of worthlessness, poor concentration, and low energy. It can cause unwanted weight gain or loss due to mood-related changes in appetite. Without the proper treatment, depression can linger on for months. This can create even more problems because depression can damage important relationships, hamper job performance, and make life virtually impossible to enjoy. Depression also raises the risk for substance abuse, and it is a significant risk factor for suicide. And you know what? My skin may be tough, but I also realize that there are people that don't have tough skin. There are people who go through these types of depressions and changes. And at one time I thought I was going to go through it. I was feeling some sort of way. It didn't last very long. I did speak to a psychologist about it. And she's like, well, you're depressed. I'm like, well, I don't feel depressed. I don't feel depressed at all. I just feel like nobody needs me anymore. This is after